the Balcomie, great views. It's probably only 6,000 yards. 6
Joseph, you should be alive.
Oh, there we go. Talking nonsense.
It's good, as we do.
Talking nonsense.
Okay, guys, we're hoping we're officially live. Maybe a few more than 2, but we're hoping we're live. We're here at the Club Champion Glasgow store. Absolutely delighted to be joined by Joe and Dane, who run this location. We've got some existing clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to
some
see
of the lads who've been watching the channel for a while. And
watch the channel, been fitted as well. Yeah, some of the first customers we've had, which is superb.
Which is great. So, usual live format, guys. We'll be taking your questions. We'll be taking some questions from the boys here, and just running through our usual schedule. Yeah. So we've had a little, walk through the facility today, Joe. So we kind of, gave or we made a video about what a client is likely to get as an experience coming through the door.
Yeah.
We've got the 2 bays. We've got the putter studio we're on right now. We've got our kind of blueprint station, full tour workshop at the back. Full capabilities of making any adjustments, everything you really want.
Yeah, no, it's a nice setup. I think it's sort of if people have been, they'll have seen it's a nice place to get fitted.
Yeah.
And for people, hopefully, will see now the video, the little tour of the place. I think it'll really sort of bring it to life in terms of what we do.
It is a great studio. It's a great space. One of the things that we always hear from clients when they come in to a fitting studio is they kind of look around and they kind of start to wonder, is it a little claustrophobic? Indoor space, when you get a kind of low ceiling, can sometimes feel a bit uncomfortable. I mean, it's so bright in here. It's so large and spacious. The bays are huge.
Yeah.
No one ever, has any complaints about that, which is brilliant. I think people really like it.
Absolutely. And one of the things we were looking for when we sort of found the location was that feeling of sort of space. Big enough bays. The bays are a nice big size, sort of 5 meters wide, 6 meters deep. So you don't have any of that sort of sense of being sort of claustrophobic.
For sure.
Which is nice.
I love it. Okay, we're just going to dive on in. I'm going to try and pick up the stream here. And see if we can get some questions from you guys. There's the boys. Make sure we've got no sound. Nobody needs to hear ourselves.
I must confess, it's been great because since obviously you've spoken about the store opening. We've had a lot of TXG followers, subscribers coming in to get fitted. And to be honest with you, it's been great. Good. It really has been, so we're very grateful for that. And hopefully this sort of thing and, doing some live will bring some visibility to us in the UK, because we've always got Basingstoke as our HQ.
Yep.
New studio in Crawley as well for customers that are down there. So it's a perfect time to come and get fitted.
And probably the boys, there's we can testify that are with us. There's not that many opportunities in Scotland to go and get fitted. I mean, there are other places for sure, but there's not the wide range that you probably guys look at North America and go, it looks like there's at every street corner there's a club fitting studio over there.
There is though. There seems like it. You look at the sort of number of club champions in Chicago or Florida or something like that.
It's multiple per city, not just a location per city.
I think there's about 12 or 13. I think you said in Florida or something like that, wasn't it?
It's incredible. Big numbers. It really is.
Big state though, obviously. But
so we've got a lot of questions coming in. Obviously, big thanks to Connor and Alan over there who are working the sort of switchboard and get the mics and everything going. The boys have done an amazing job with us this morning, getting us live, which is fantastic. We're just going to dive into some questions, guys. So let's put it over to you on the stream, and we'll kind of cut to the guys here in the studio. We've got an in-house mic here, so we'll dive right in. Wayne is asking, Ian, have you made any birdies since the skins match? So we had a skins match on the pulpit. It was running there earlier on. Mike, Mac, and I. So 9-hole match, 0 birdies, 1 bogey between us, and everything else was a par. Right. So 30. Oh, so what do you have there?
That's unusual for a skins.
It's so unusual. So 26 pars, 1 bogey, no birdies in 9 holes. So the plan was to only play 9 holes. We ended up going and playing a few more because we had to try and get a birdie. So it was. I've never played a match like it where it was just pars after pars. The boys both played great, but we were playing thinking to ourselves, this isn't going to be a very good team.
But it was actually turned out quite good.
It was quite a good match. It was quite a good quality match. We were all hitting some decent shots. We just couldn't buy a putt. There's been a few birdies since that match. For whatever reason, that was just one of those things.
You guys do a bit of the pulpit though, eh?
We do. We definitely.
Lovely,
it's a lovely spot. Having the truck there is great, and People get a chance to come up and for people who indoors not for them, and there are some people that they want to try what it's like in the turf. They might be want to do a wedge fitting in the turf, and hopefully through the channel and over the years we've shown that there's a significant advantage, or you can get a significantly impactful experience doing wedge fitting indoors. But outdoors, you're going to get the bunker. You're going to get some rough you can chip out of. Not every lie when we're looking at a wedge experience is a perfect lie.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that is one downside to the indoor. There's plenty of advantages. There's plus points to the controlled environment, etc., etc. But that's one of the benefits we love about the pulpit. It's good.
Yeah, no, it looks like a great setup there you've got.
So I think let's start with the boys. Let's kind of let's dive into the audience.
Locked and loaded.
I know. Who's got a question? James, you've got to be up first.
With the new title science come out, as I tell us at the end, specifically for me, how do you see what sort of blended sets going?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the Titleist irons, the first T series was a big change for them, or a nice migration towards this perfecting the player's iron. And I think they started with that one, James, is that you're looking at 100s or 150s or maybe even long irons in the 200s, that type of thing. What they've done with that T series iron was they expanded the range. Obviously AP1 and AP2 and then subsequently AP3 was good, but they had a wee bit of work to do on some of the parts. So AP2 was by far the best. 3 wasn't great and 1 wasn't kind of great. Neither of those were good, but the T series are amazing. So what you're going to see with the new line is 4 amazing irons. You've got 100, 150, 200, and 350. There's going to be a feel story. There's going to be a sound story. You can't talk too much about the tech in it, but you've hit the nail on the head with blended sets. That's what it's going to be all about. I've got a blended set of 150s and 200s.
I think Mikey did the same.
He and I basically end up very similar. I've got a U505 as my long iron. He went with a U200 utility 200 in the long iron. So there's some sole changes, some turf interaction changes as well. So as a good player like you are, there's some things that you'll notice when you kind of get it in the turf and things like that. So that's a big part of the experience of the club, is when you hit it, what feedback do you get? And really, before you've even had a chance to your eyes to look up and pick up the ball flight, there's feedback came up the club and through your hands, and you've had a sense of how did that shot go. You're going to see some things and some differences with that, which I think you'll really like.
I think the current range is so good. That if we've done great with it, and if there's improvements on that, then I can't see how it can be successful. I'd imagine they're building on a great platform with that range, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Guys on the stream, let us know. I saw one comment there about the mic, and let us know, is that the potentially that mic? Is it good? Should be good. Okay. Well, guys, keep telling us in the stream if there's any dropout on mic, if you can't hear anything, or even if it's questions to the boys, we can repeat it so you guys can hear it as well. That's not a problem. James's question wasn't here. James was asking about the new T series irons and titles. What can we tell you guys about them? What are the sort of changes that we'd expect to see? And obviously, with regards to blended sets, is that something that's going to be available with the new Titleist irons? And I would say that's one of the key things. One thing, they've released the pictures of them.
Yes,
So when you look at them, even just aesthetically, they're very similar. You used to have different colour schemes, like 300 and a wee splash of red it and things like that, whereas you do see a lovely transition all the way up.
Which, to James's point, she'll make it a much nicer set to blend. I think Strixon have done that well this year, where you actually can't tell, the sort of if you're blending that set, it makes it a lovely sort of progression.
It does. Yeah.
A lot of guys don't like to see a 4-iron that looks totally different, or that kind of way. So I think a lot of guys like to just sort of, in the bag, look kind of seamless.
Yeah.
But get the tech, get the benefit of those sort of longer irons, which are a bit more playable.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I probably hit in my test session, I hit 100s, 150s, and I'm okay. When I hit 200 and 350, so Marnie, who designed them, like my eyes lit up when I hit the 200 and the 350. And honestly, I mean, if it was a blind test, if you just dropped me in that and went, you don't know anything about clubs, hit these 4 and get some feedback, you would have guaranteed I would have walked away with 200s and 350s
Right.
based on how they flew, how I hit them. Obviously, I know that I'm looking for something a little different on the golf course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than on the range, and again, that's in the fit. That's the way your fitter guides. The player is to make sure that they're not just getting, what flies the furthest.
Absolutely,
that type thing. It's got to be more versatile than that. But the 200s and 350s were spectacular. They really were.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah.
Did you notice any difference in golf ball performance with the new irons? Was there any tweak for you?
Lots of
change a ball or
change a ball based on what I was seeing with the PXG irons.
Right. Okay.
So we saw some quite interesting differences on spin,
right,
and consistency of spin.
Right,
That's that term has been thrown around a lot right now, and
ping and the spin
consistency and things like that. Hits across the face and making sure that we're really able to hit it in different places of the head and not see that drop off, that kind of steep fall in performance. So I think that's very much what people will be likely to see. It's quite amazing to see the tour adoption as well. The amount of players since the US Open and
went straight in
that seeding program that have just went right into the new clubs. It's obviously they don't do that stuff lightly.
No, they take that as you're playing for your living. You take it very seriously, don't you? So you've got to have performance gains.
Yeah. So dive into some questions here on the group, guys. Just keep throwing them in there. Brian was saying, "Hey guys, I was thinking of switching to graphite iron shafts. How much does a swing speed affect choosing shaft weight and flex?" It's a big part, isn't it?
Massive.
One of the key elements.
Absolutely. I think the weight you have to get right, in the graphite, but to your YouTube video the other day talking about the sort of tour weight, we see a lot in that lighter weight graphite, and really the difference now is it's so stable, even at those lighter weights, 60 grams and up, you're really having a completely different product to what a lightweight steel feels like. You can get a lot of weight out of it, but you can still maintain a lot of stability. I think the only way you can really tell if it suits you is to hit it in the bay.
Yeah, you got to hit it and get that feedback.
And also, go through multiple weights. You might be a 70, try an 80, and really dial in that sort of specific weight category for you. And then obviously the bend profile and the balance point of where the club is, and matching in then the sort of swing weight for you.
Gives us those options, doesn't it? I mean, I think that's with graphite, the opportunity there is far greater.
To change the design and the structure.
Everything, it gives you so many options and opportunities as a shaft designer. You got 40-gram shafts out there all the way up to 130 now, and the options to mix materials, to change the sort of torque profiles and all those things that has made the wood sort of section of the equipment market explode. That's all available now, and really the resistance is going to be down to the player accepting that graphite is a superior. I even want to say potentially superior, but it is a superior material to steel. But it's whether we can kind of see over time people accepting that.
Yeah, no, I think people are, to be honest with you, changing their mindset about it. I think when you test it in the bay and you realise it isn't that graphite you maybe knew 10 years ago, it is totally different now. I mean, even now you see guys like McIlroy and Woods, going into lighter weight graphite, always 7 and 8X in the driver, now in 6. So you can see how much they've improved the sort of integrity of the shaft, and the structural design where they can actually go down the weight and still maintain stability.
That's huge, isn't it? You're right. You're absolutely right. You think, Sergio, Rory, a Tiger, Gary Woodland, all those guys used to be kind of 90, 100 gram graphite because that's what you needed, the amount of the quantity of graphite to thicken the walls enough to gain the structure. And then obviously from there, now things like Velocore and all these different materials now that they can kind of layer in there.
LA with HD design, so you get that stability without adding tons of weight.
No, it's great. Let's throw it back out into the guys, into the audience. Anything else?
Hi, Ian. My question's kind of overlapping with what you've just spoke about a little bit, as I was watching the tour weight graphite video the other day, and
very good,
found that really interesting. And as someone who plays graphite in these irons myself, I was wondering if you saw a point where there might be a case for graphite taking over as more popular in iron shafts, or do you feel like people are going to stick with the steel for a lot longer, and for what reason that might be?
One of them, Graham, will be cost.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
that's probably the biggest thing.
Probably the
Resistance
biggest.
now.
Yeah.
They've got to be double the cost for a premium graphite.
Yeah. And until that cost comes down and it makes sense to the consumer to, not be influenced by their pocket, because we try and do everything in the bay to create a level playing field on kind of, so you're just making a decision based on performance. We try our hardest to do that. But the reality is golf equipment is getting expensive. It's getting really expensive across the board. And, obviously, it's got to be a big factor. I think performance-wise, we're probably there. We're probably there. I think Axiom, Joe and I were chatting earlier on, you're loving some of the lightweight KBS graphite.
Very good.
Really liking
just get
LA
Axiom
Golf
in.
105. You just got Axiom in. The MMT stuff's been good for a while. There's so much good product. If I think of our store in Mississauga, our fitting store there, half of our wall is graphite on iron shafts, half our wall is steel. So
I'd probably say we're very similar, to be honest with you now. Yeah.
So that's how we view it, that we think there's that much, value in going down that direction. So I just think it's not about launch and spin anymore and control. All those things have gone. Like people thinking about, I get flyers from graphite shafts. Well, you don't, not certainly anymore. That's for sure. I load it too much and all those sorts of things. Look at Ventus Black. Look at Diamana PD. Look at all those stiff shafts. They can be as stiff as you could ever imagine them to be. And the manufacturers have got way more runway with what they can do with that than they do, with steel.
Yeah, absolutely. So couldn't agree more. I think the one thing you've got to do is put out your mind and test it.
Yeah, just
see if there are performance gains too, and then if you find it and it makes sense to your budget, then go for it, because it is some great product out there now.
Definitely. Okay, let's have a little look in here. BM, are you able to retrofit my current Scotty cam and putter with a graphite shaft?
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah. Is my wee putter over there somewhere? No.
Yeah, I think it's tucked away in your bag.
Oh, there it's there.
Is it still there?
Aye. So here is my Scottish putter.
It would obviously depend on the hosel, wouldn't it?
Yeah, depending on the hosel. Yeah. If it's a standard sort of plumber's neck,
no problem.
It would have to be something like that.
Yeah. Now, you could do it on a single bend or a double bend with a BGT or something like that.
Yeah. LA Golf have got their Soho now as well, and so as long as it's like a Newport 2, something like that, there's definitely lots of options to doing that. But this is a Mitsubishi MMT in there, 135 grams.
Yeah.
Again, most steel shafts and putters are about 120 grams. Gives you that opportunity as well, just to kind of get that weight up or down. And there's
you notice
so much
it. I rolled a few with that earlier on. You notice there's real heft to it. Yeah, it feels nice.
Yeah, no, it does. It definitely does.
It definitely feels different.
Yeah,
graphite to steel and putter, and just as we're talking about the iron shafts, they do feel different.
It's interesting. I wonder, whether it's just this conversation and kind of. I'm reading the kind of comments as they come in here, and it's very dominant on graphite. Graphite being an option in putters or irons or whatever it might be. It just goes to show that people are thinking along those lines.
Probably more so than ever. But if you think of what's happened recently with LA Golf making a bit more of a splash, Axiom being released, there is more of a sort of energy behind it.
Well, and, there's the fitting portion of it, which obviously is important to us here in the Bay. But I will say on the other side of it, guys, the build as well. I can honestly say I've seen some horrible steel shafts, especially when we put them through the SST Pure process and we measure that line straightness on there, and it kind of it takes a look down the beam length, and it kind of we see the straightness kind of measurement come out, and you see the big curves in it, and so you take it out the machine, you roll it in the ground, roll it in the table, and it's like a crooked pool cue.
It's warped.
It's warped, and you're like, oh geez. Whereas, the process of layering sheet graphite and sanding it down to create sort of uniformity to the shaft itself will lend itself to be much more consistent,
much tighter tolerance,
much tighter than kind of obviously extruding steel on a mandrel. So it's definitely opportunity structurally to be again superior, like we said.
Yeah, but even some of the you know, the lighter weight stuff, even psychologically for guys, you know, where they go, well, I don't really need a 60 or a 70 or an 80 gram shaft.
Yeah.
But once you hit it, you know, and you gain a little bit of speed, and you gain a little bit of ball speed, and maybe a little bit higher peak height, and, you know, all of a sudden that adds that 10, 15 yards to your iron shots. It makes a big difference.
It definitely does. I mean, you look at guys in the tour who have can entertain some graphite shafts. You've got Abraham Answer, MMT 105 TX, 113 gram shaft. You had Brant Snedeker for a while playing steel fibers. Matt Kuchar playing steel fibers. Not one of them was playing that graphite shaft in anything at tour weight 130 grams. 95s, it was kind of 110s, that type of thing. So, you know, there are people out there that are, you know, testing these things, and you know, Kuchar was the one with the steel fibers who first done it. He done it with Cool Clubs out in Arizona with his fitter Justin Nelson, and then I think it was Snedeker tried Kuchar's clubs, and then he loved them, and then ended up building him a set because of the Bridgestone link, I think it was at the time. So if people are curious enough to try it, there's benefits to be had for sure.
And it's an easy process though to test it. You know, you can match it against your current product, put the head and the shaft together, and see if it makes sense to you.
Definitely,
you know, you will hear it, you will see the ball speed. If it works for you, it's got to work for you.
Got to work,
but you will see that in the bay. You will see the numbers, because that's basically how we fit, isn't it? They're data driven. You know, you've got to materially see a difference in performance in order for us to recommend a change.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. Okay, let's grab one here. Why aren't ascending weight shafts more popular?
Good question.
It's a very good question. I mean, my own personal opinion is I would, in terms of my preference, I like constant weight, then ascending, and my last choice would be to go, you know, parallel descending. It's definitely not my preference to go down that route.
What would you say is the fuel for you? A finished build?
More control. I feel more control. Like constant weight is for me continuity. If I get a good set of heads with good head weights, you know, and obviously
you know the finished build's going to be good. You're controlling the whole process.
My Nippon 120s or whatever I'm using, making sure that they're, you know, 120, etc. And obviously they're discrete lengths. So I just think, you know, if you've got the grip weight, the shaft weight, and the head weights in the right order, you're really set for a great build. Ascending mass, I totally get it. If you're looking for somebody who's trying to flight the long irons a little bit more
speed.
So if you look at something like AMT White, so 4-iron shaft starts at 113 grams, 115 in the 5, so up in 3 gram increments. It makes sense to have 112 is in the 4-iron. It makes sense to have a 112 gram 4-iron that you can sort of have a little bit more speed with, and less at 130 gram wedge shaft where you're trying to flight it down.
Absolutely,
exactly.
But you see that in some guys though, even slightly off the different topic, and says that they might go 105 modus or a 120, and same sort of type idea where you're just hoping to get a little bit more speed out of it.
Definitely. And I think to that point, Joe, so I think, you know, 105 modus and 120 and 130. You know, I think one of the things going with an ascending AMT set from like TrueTeb or something like that is
the consistency
of the EI profile. You know, you've got that, you know, that similar sort of feel, that dynamic gold profile all the way through, which is great.
No, good question though.
They're really good, really good. And the audience, David.
With the past 2 winners in the PGA Tour having the Odyssey Jailbird putter, like, do you think like more people put it in their bag, and with Odyssey like re-releasing it, it'll bring down the price of like what it was like online?
Yeah, has to, doesn't it? I mean,
I think it was going for like in America about 3,500 something.
Was it really?
Yeah,
wow.
They'd skyrocketed on eBay.
Used
Stuff like
ones.
that.
Really? Was that just the availability of this new release? Wow.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it will do. It'll. They're going to re-release them, and you know, I think the important thing as well is what is it about a Versa Jailbird that was working for those guys. So contrast, obviously, in the putter design. So your ability to sort of see the face and contrast that with the body. Look down this line of putters. There's other putters and other companies who are doing similar stuff. So I always try and think or say to people, when it comes to a technology, you know, it's not, doesn't have to be with that one. There's nothing magic about that, you know, that particular style of putter, but there's definitely something great that those guys are seeing with a concept. And that's what it's more about, is there's a concept they're able to attach to there. So, but Odyssey are going to release them, and they'll be back to probably in the US $350 in the US, or what, $400 in the US, and probably $299 out here or something like that in pounds.
But to your point, we've seen that in our putter fittings. You know, guys really gravitating to the contrast. You know, even roll duo, the spider range, where you have, you know, a separation in colours, and you really can see if you have trouble, you know, lining up your longer putts or your shorter putts. You can really see if the putter faces off with that contrast. Listen, it doesn't work for everybody, otherwise everyone would use it. But I think it is something that there is a little bit of magic in it, in the sense that, you know, that silver on black or white on black, you can really see if the face is slightly out. You know, so again, it's something worth experimenting with, something worth trying. And Ian's right. You know, there's all the manufacturers offering something. You know, Bet and Hardy have got something similar there. And then it's about what you like the feel of, what you like the look of, what you like the sound of, and then making sure you've got the right toe hang, head weight, loft and lie.
We worked for TaylorMade together at the time of the white driver.
That's right,
And you know, from a sales perspective, the best sales they ever done were with white drivers.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, they broke all the records when it came to that, and that was an alignment and a contrast, you know, story and things like that. So, is that something you think, you know, they'll bring back at some point? Is the white driver? It'll be hard with the Stealth name. Stealth and a white driver doesn't really kind of go hand in hand, but do you think that's something?
So it was interesting at the time, wasn't it? Mark King said, you know, they'd never make another black driver.
Yeah, we'll never go back.
Never go back. You know, we'll see if we'll see if it comes out. I think it's a good thing. To be honest with you. I like the sim with that contrast. I think again that you know, that white alignment with the black, I think there's a lot of value in it.
I've seen some custom Stealth 2 on the My Stealth program. Our pal Mac Boucher has one with obviously the carbon top and the white outline. That looks really good. Yeah, looks really good. I think if they've done something like that, it could be quite impactful for them.
No, agreed. I think it's interesting design. Definitely. I mean, there was always a bit of opposition to white, though. You know, but
absolutely.
You know, we used to always say, working for TaylorMade at the time, if you start hitting the ball better, you start hitting it longer and straighter, generally you'll overcome it. But I think in the putter, certainly there's a lot of value in it, particularly on that alignment.
Agreed. A couple of people asking for subtitles and translation. Absolutely fine, no problem at all.
Two Scottish guys talking to you.
I know. Just all we need is a couple of pints, and then it'll really go south. But no, I think that was one of the cool things about doing this is obviously getting a chance to, you know, connect with the UK audience. You know, and
hopefully the UK audience can understand us.
I'm sure they will. All right, let's dive into here again. Tom's asking, what left-handed putter options do we have in the Glasgow store? Do you get many?
We've got a few, not as many as obviously the right-handed. I mean, one thing I would say in the overall demo matrix, we have a huge amount of left-handed product. You know, I mean, all the drivers, irons, fairways, hybrids, we all have in left-handed. Putters we don't have as much, but we've definitely got a sort of selection there. Some from Scotty Cameron, some from TaylorMade. You know, we've got a few Bet and Hardys as well. But it's never going to be as big as the right-handed options.
That's it, and I think that's where, as a company, you know, we're trying to integrate with more modular kits. You know, stuff like the even roll system where we can interchange it. That's the future for, you know, putter fitting, component fitting for people like us. You know, Joe put me through it this morning, an even roll fit where we tried. We went from a blade into a mallet, and we tried a short slant neck into a plumber's neck, and literally Joe's, you know, drilling heads in and out, and it's literally taking 30 seconds.
It's like changing the driver shaft now. It's exactly the same sort of technology, or changing your iron shaft and the fitting. And, you know, I think that's the way, you know, we were chatting about it earlier on. I think that'll be the next evolution of fitting. You know, I think everybody totally gets the importance of driver fitting, iron fitting. You know, I think this is we're at the ground level, and it's only building momentum. You know, and I think as the companies see more and more value in that, they'll invest in it. And I think even Roll are a bit ahead of the curve with their system. I suppose Adele have got something in a sense you can do that with as well. Maybe not as big a brand over here, but once you've been through that and you can tweak, you know, base angle and hosel and length and shaft and grip, I think you really see it come to life. It's a great way to get fitted.
I think you're right. I think even will have the jump on them. Because it's a great putter, and great technology,
absolutely,
with a variable depth groove, and obviously a great fitting system. Which makes a lot of difference.
They've done a great job. As I say, I do think Maybe it won't be this year, but next year, the year after, I think you'll see that PJ show.
I do as well.
Yeah, I think you'll see that become a bigger part of it, because even though the for the manufacturers, the price point isn't as high as a driver, they're always looking for ways to improve what they offer, and I think that's the next step for them.
And inventory as well, isn't it? If come in here, and obviously we've got space taken up with inventory. There's cost associated with that. There's a business to be run, and things like that. So I think the component value of that is huge.
Yeah.
Roy, you're the last man.
I was going to ask you about all right, sorry. My question was about putter fins. Everybody thinks when you get a fitter, you go for clubs that's driver.
Yeah.
But where you guys sitting is probably as important or more important.
It's right up there. It's right up there.
100%.
It has as much value as anywhere, like you said, if not more. We know it is the club we use the most, and
I think, as you were saying earlier on, it's really the low hanging fruit. If you're not, it's the easy win. If you're not holing enough putts, or you're 3-putting, you could really save a whole load of shots there.
Yeah, I think we've played golf together for the best part of 25 years. We both know the value of getting off the tee. We both had our struggles off the tee all the years. So,
I think more than most.
No, I don't know. I think we've in equal measure had our struggles, but we both know the value of the driver fit. We both know the value of the putter fit, and it's important, obviously, to great irons and have all that blend. And but if we're talking importance, I always say have your driver fit and have your putter fit, or have the best you can have in both of those options. I think if you bookend both ends of that, in your bag, I just think it's amazing how big of a difference. If you were to do two things, spend 2 hours in fit your driver and fit your putter. Think of how many times you hit 3-wood.
Very few.
We probably do more fairway wood fittings than we do putter fittings. And you think of, you might hit 3 or 4 fairway woods around. Some might be more, some might be less, but it's not that many.
No.
Versus on here, you can make.
And I think when you, to Roy's point, when you ally that then to some technology to help you, rather than just a putter fitter rolling a few putts and going, well, I quite like the weight, quite like the feel. Actually taking an hour's time to go through, whether it's Quintic or Sam that we use, and really taking a sort of in-depth look into what you've got and how we can help you. I think it just totally makes sense. I can't see why you wouldn't do it, to be honest with you. And especially with the price of putters now, they're definitely expensive. Even roll is £400 plus. Scotty Cameron the same. If you're going to invest in that, then a small portion of the fit fee, just to go through the process and make sure you get the right one, I think it's money well spent.
Agreed. Couldn't agree more. Chris Pride's asking there, having seen Quintic putter fittings on the channel, how does Sam compare? This was my first look at Sam today.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's different because it's more stroke based, isn't it, rather than ball roll data.
Correct. That's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah. But I think it still does a nice job in sort of analysing your impact location and then your dynamic loft and making a recommendation from there.
I think that's it. There's structure around the software on SAM, and for those who don't know what SAM Putt Lab is, Science in Motion has been around for a long time. In this space, and obviously it's used
probably less so in fitting, probably more instruction,
more in the instruction side of things. And obviously Quintic developed with Dr. Paul has been sort of on the ball roll side, quite groundbreaking in a lot of the research that Paul has done and things like that. But
smart guy, obviously,
really
you know him well.
Fantastic, but I think in terms of the experience, and I went through it, I wanted to go through it because I haven't, although I saw it when I was here in December, I've never been through, I've never, seen Sam in action. It was great to experience it and see how easy the step-by-step process is. Like you said, 7-step process to sort of taking you through the right length, loft, lie, recommendations on how to match the toe hang so you've got the right face angle delivery relative to your arc and all those sorts of things. Even, although it's not measuring ball roll with a camera or anything like that, it is measuring. So you're inputting the sort of static loft of your putter, and then it's telling you, are you de-lofting that or are you adding loft to that? So it gives you a recommendation on loft and lie, which is brilliant.
No, it is. It's good. And then, once we've got your putter what we think is right and you're holing more putts and it looks right, we put you back on to make sure that is validated. Nicely, I mean, generally speaking though, when someone then starts rolling putts, and Dane does a lot of our putter fittings here, and they start holing putts, you can see, you put them back on for the calibration, but they don't need it because the confidence is up, the stroke frees up. It's a bit like when you start hitting good drives. All of a sudden you sort of relax a little bit, the tension goes out the hands and arms, and when you start doing that, you generally play better golf.
Build that confidence.
Yeah.
Another Chris is asking there, Chris Carrose is asking, do you ever think they would combine both technologies to give you the full package? I've often thought that even with TrackMan and Quad, is somebody going to come out with a Doppler radar that talks to a camera, so the camera who can see what the frame by frame impact and separation looks like, and then obviously you've got the radar to see downrange what radar is able to see in terms of aerodynamics and movement and things like that. Yeah, I'm sure somebody at some point is if we see it, there's somebody in the field who also sees it.
Yeah, there will be.
And there's somebody with enough ambition and money to go ahead and try it.
But if you think where we started in club fitting compared to where it is now, it's insane. I mean, you think of 2 up, half-inch long, 2 flat, half-inch short was your bag of demos.
That was it.
9.5 stiff, 10.5 reg, HTM, and away you go. So where we are now is just, it's absolutely night and day.
Years ahead,
it really is. We're now talking about the right golf ball in the bay for you, loft and line your demo club as you hit it.
Yeah.
Adjusting the swing weight, through the fit. All of that stuff's, light years ahead of where we were when we started, Yeah. But all to the good, because truthfully, it makes the world a difference,
It does, and I love as well that we've got all these options and components, and not to sort of blow our own trumpet, but with what the channel, the people who watch us in this channel, is you guys are becoming so educated about it as well. So you're curious, and you come in, it kind of almost rightly so expecting to try all those different options now.
With good technology, good golf balls.
Definitely. Yeah. You see yourself at a D1 swing weight go, what's D5 feel like? I don't know, I've never tried D5, let's give that a run.
Yeah, and we see guys who obviously watch a lot of content on the channel, guys like yourselves, that they know the product.
Yeah.
They know the shaft specs, they know the head weights, they know how the material should go together, and it's, from a fitting point of view, it's great because they understand the numbers, they understand that process, and it makes a big difference,
It definitely does. We've got some nice ambient sound in here as well, the Club Champion Glasgow, so we've got the nice kind of soothing sound of rain hitting the roof, so if you hear that in the background, you won't be surprised.
The weather's not great today. You brought the rain.
It was not raining in Canada, so I never brought it in Canada. I think it stayed here all along. People always say...
anyone who's in Scotland knows the summer's over for us. We had our 3 weeks and...
You had your afternoon.
We're all lobster and enjoyed it.
Let me dive back in here and... the Chris's today. Chris S. Is asking, how much of a bearing does putter head weight have on pace control?
Yeah, big part of it. Yeah, and also in terms of your cadence to your stroke, your rhythm to your stroke. That's the biggest thing, because if you're in a putter head weight which isn't correct for you, then that really affects your rhythm. That rhythm will affect how you control speed, won't it? Is what I would think, to be honest with you. So we see guys. It was great the other day. I actually fitted a guy for a Scotty Cameron Golo. 6.5, and we upped the head weight because he felt it a little bit light, and it did affect his, what he felt was the sort of natural cadence or rhythm of his stroke. Up the head weights from 10s to 20s, and what a difference it made. Just helped calm that stroke down, help get that rhythm, and because of that, he was then able to judge distance much better.
One of the things I like to do in the putter fit, just back in Scotland, back in Canada, is actually have putt, even though we've got a certain dedicated length of putt, I actually like to see them, ask them to hit a certain length of putt. So we've got a similar length studio to you guys, and I'll say, okay, hit me a 10-footer, hit me 3 10-footers, hit me 3 15 and 3 20s. I want to see, Quintic shows its impact ratio, so smash factor, ball speed divided by club speed. I want to see on those length of putts, how consistent is your output speed?
Yeah, is your impact ratio.
Yeah. So what Dr. Paul Hurry will always say is, the importance of output speed. He says that's one of the most important things that really people don't focus on enough. A lot of people look at launch angle, spin rates. Even Scott Fawcett, a decade, will say in his information, speed is 5 times more impactful than line on sort of 3-putt avoidance. That's quite amazing. Yeah, 5 times more.
And for a lot of guys that that I think for the club golfer, if you can eliminate those 3 putts, it makes a massive difference to your score. But no, I think you have to test it. I think you have to test the standard headweight. I think you have to test a heavier headweight.
Yeah.
You know, we can obviously with like Evenroe or Scotty Cameron, we can add weights.
Yeah.
You know, we can add lead tape to your own putter to see how that feels. And then you really don't know until you've tried it.
That's it. You've got to test it and try it.
And that's what the guys on tour are doing all the time, isn't it? They're always trying to find marginal gains. Marginal gains, and that adds up to a better score. You know, and that's the key.
Without a doubt. Ryan Horner's rubbing it in, saying it's 30 degrees and sunny back home today. Ian, only a little bit of smoke. Yeah, have you seen that? The wildfires.
Yeah. What is it here today? 15. 15, 30,
15 and
high 50s.
Soaking. It's no good. No good. Mike Martusevich is in the house.
Michael.
Young Michael's in the house.
Can't believe Michael never made the trip over. Devastated.
I know. We'll get him over at some point. Mikey boy is... I'm actually, because of the 5-hour time difference, I'm just shocked Mikey's out of his bed at this time.
That's a low blow, Mikey.
Low blow or accurate? probably both. Boys, we'll jump back to you guys in a sec. I think Dane will just grab the mic in one little second. HFL Lee is asking, what is the ideal loft for a putter or attack angle? No such thing, really, is there?
Yeah, it depends on how you deliver it, doesn't it?
It's the whole custom element of custom fitting is, you know, we see what you bring to the table and then we adjust accordingly.
We can see, you know, guys that down on it need a bit more loft, guys that hit a lot up on it need less loft. It's really like your driver.
Definitely.
It's really like that, you know, there's no one loft for your driver that suits you, so, you know, it's same for the putter.
Totally.
I don't think people think of the dynamics like that, though, on a putter because the stroke is so short. But you can hit down quite aggressively on a putt, or you can hit aggressively up, depending on your stroke style, and then depending on your impact location.
Impact location is a huge one.
Yeah, absolutely. Then what do you need to get that ball rolling properly?
Yeah.
You do have to get it rolling properly, don't you? To gain some consistency and distance control.
Yeah, back to that sort of impact ratio consistency metric that we talked about that Quintic has, and you know, the output. You've got to be hitting the putter pretty consistently, you know, to be able to get that consistent output. And, you know, lots of companies have identified that with their face technology. Whether it's TaylorMade with Pure Roll, whether it's Evenroe with their variable face ping, had the same with TR technology and theirs. So lots of companies seeing that as a big factor in the design of their putters to give them a you know, point of difference or an advantage over their competition.
Yeah, and improve their ball roll for their customers.
Definitely. Chip is asking, is there a translation app? LOL. You can put you on your subtitles. I'd love to see what the subtitles come out and say. I always think that's good.
Did Michael have a question, or was he just
Michael? No, he's just
no questions.
No questions from Mikey boy. Cole McLennan is asking, do you have the Odyssey 2 ball, Jose? I'm getting a putter fit in August, but not sure he'll be able to bring his gamer to you. Do you have Odyssey?
No, we don't at the minute. No, it's one of the brands we don't have at the minute. Just we're a new studio. And so we don't
have inventory coming in.
Yeah, still have inventory coming in. For example, we just got some more Scotties last week. But Odyssey's not one of the brands we have at the minute. But hopefully we will have it in. But it's just, we would always encourage you, whether it's in, and I'm sure you guys are the same. I mean, whatever product you're coming to get fitted for, bring your own stuff.
Bring your own stuff. You've got to test it.
You've got to see if it's better. You know, then there's never a question mark about, because the fitter can only do so much in the bay. You know, we can get you a great set of numbers. But if we can't compare it to what you've got, then it's difficult.
Without a doubt. Let's see. There's our pal Rob Coates. Greetings from Halifax. Did you ever see just the one of the giveaways we've done? I think it was a 100k giveaway. Big Rob one came in and got fitted on the channel. Did you ever see that one? Rob is. There's a few names that obviously people see on the channel. He's definitely one of the OGs to the channel, which is great. So out in Halifax, lovely Cabot Cliffs kind of territory out there on the East Coast.
It's amazing though, that growth in the channel. Over 200,000.
It's great to see, and the kind of the
guys like this have probably been since the start. You know, guys like we've got here have probably watched it since the start.
No, it's great to see, boys. David.
I watched a video where you reviewed the Adams clubs, the new ones that came out. It made me think, do you think there's any way that it would make more companies come back to being club manufacturers, just like Nike? Because it is testament that they had some good clubs like Tony Finau and
absolutely
keeping the 3-iron, I think it is, in the bag. I'm just wondering if you thought there's any way of that coming back.
So Nike, I don't think will come back into the scene, but I think the concept of what Adams are doing with that set is definitely got some runway. I would say.
You see that more direct to consumer though.
A bit more direct to consumer, price point driven, and kind of going in there, and maybe you don't have the budget quite yet to go and kind of get into the custom club fit side of things. But one thing I always say to people is don't let that deter you from going and being custom fit. You know, making sure that you go in and get the right information for what you need, because there's loads of ways to go about it. There's many ways, whether it's taking a set and cut them to a certain length, or adjusting loft and lie, Joe and Dane's, loft lie machines here, and do it at your price point. When you come in, walk through the door, and you go, right, boys, I have £500 to spend a set of irons. What can we do? Well, it's a great filter process to go, well, 2/3 of the wall might be eliminated, but we've got 1/3 we're really going to dial you in, and you'd be shocked how much just being dialed in for the right specs, regardless of obviously the head and that type of thing.
Could it be a shaft change?
Shaft
change, which is very economically to do.
Absolutely.
Fresh grips, loft and lie, and you could have a great set of
makes the world of difference.
Absolutely.
So, I think there's companies that the direct consumer market that are doing a brilliant job. I think PXG are actually doing a really good job right now with their 0211 range and some of their entry point, products, which is quite good as well. It really is. It's good. It's good. Just get caught up here. Let's see. Peter's asking on thoughts on arm lock shafts. What are your thoughts on arm lock putter shafts?
Putters? Yeah. It's probably, as Jason McNiven says, it's a bit Marmite. It's either for you or it's not. We've messed around. We only have one in the Matrix. We've messed it, and it's very stable if you try it. If you do have a problem with the yips, or you are sort of struggling, there could be real some value in it for you. Yeah. We don't do a whole lot with it, to be honest.
We're the same, Joe.
Yeah. I think it is a big departure. I think you'd have to come in and go, I'm really toiling here. I've tried everything. Or you are maybe that guy who was the belly putter, or and now band, or in the chest like Adam Scott. I think then you'd be probably leaning towards something like that to try and get the stability back. It's not a huge amount, but I think there is value in it.
Yeah, I do as well. I think there is. It's a difficult one to. There's so many nuances to arm lock. Whether it's there's kind of grip shape.
Yeah.
There's obviously the amount of loft in the putter. Whether it's 7 degrees with a 4 degree sort of press that you've got to put on it to take some off. So it's difficult, I think, in this environment.
Difficult to fit for.
Easy if you're a tour player, and you can go have the truck and go make something.
If it doesn't work, hand it back.
Exactly.
But it is difficult.
It really is. Alex has got a good one there. What iron heads have been top sellers this year? What have you and Dane seen in the store here?
Strixon's very popular. Great range.
5s and 7s really across the board.
Absolutely. 5. Yeah, 5 and 7. 5's a great iron.
5. For me, I actually think 5 is my pick of the bunch.
Nice head shape. Not too big, but very forgiving. Great on ball speed. Really like that. It feels great. Obviously quality forging. Titleist, very popular. Really good iron. Obviously good range again. My old sort of favourite there is the Muras. Done a few sets of those. That 502 is really good. Obviously, you played 201 for a long time.
I know. It's not good for me coming home. It's great to see the family and great to see friends, but what's not good about it is I have a different set of clubs.
See those 201s.
And it just makes me think, what have I done?
Yeah, nice set of irons there. So a bit of everything, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, Cobra's been a bit of a sleeper, to be honest. A really good iron. Really impressed with their range this year. I think they've really elevated their entire range. The woods are great, but the irons are almost don't get enough recognition.
Definitely, that new Tour iron.
Great iron
is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely great iron.
Yeah, I was hitting that when we tested the Tour weight graphite, and I was really impressed.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, couldn't agree more. No. All the companies are doing good product.
Everybody
I can't think of someone doing bad product.
And that's why, again, we harp on about it, and you guys will be probably sick of us hearing it, but hopefully, you understand why we're saying it, and that's why you watch this channel. But that's the value nowadays of being fit, because of all the options, the tens of thousands of options that you have with interchangeable shafts now. How do you go into a store and pick a set or find the right set for you without being fit? The reality is you won't. I mean, it literally is a needle in a haystack nowadays, walking into big box retailer and trying to find the right set for you. You just won't find it. You'll spend a lot of money trying. Way more than you will invest in the right set.
In the right one, hopefully first time round.
Yeah, that's it. It's more costly to get it wrong than it is to get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing is, if you find the right shaft that works for you, it's so easy then to test the head variance, and then what speaks to you in terms of ball flight, launch, spin, feel, all those sort of things, dispersion. You can test a ZX5 against a T200 or whatever model you sort of like the look of, and what gives you the right performance characteristics. Because all the companies are making great products.
They really do.
There's no doubt about that.
Back into the lads. Any questions? We out of questions? Great.
Aye, just to move away from equipment just for a second. But let's say you're bringing Mikey over to Scotland for a week or so. What 5 courses in Scotland are you taking him to play?
Great question.
So he's been over and played a little bit over here. So he and I have done, Kings Barnes. We've done a little bit around the East Coast. I'd probably love to take him up to like Dornoch and do a little bit up there, kind of around that area. He's played Royal Troon. He played Turnberry. You set him up at Turnberry.
Yeah, that's right. He played with his dad.
Yeah, he's played Dundonald. Yeah. So I think I would probably go up north and maybe try and do a little bit around Dornoch and Cruden Bay.
Castle
Stewart. Yeah. Now I think, was it now called Cabot Links?
Is it? Yeah, been rebranded as Cabot. All over it. Yeah.
So there, and then would try hard. Not an easy one, but I try hard to get him. He's desperate on taking on at Loch Lomond.
It's got to be the best.
Desperate. So 4 up there and then one back down.
But there's so much good golf. You go through to the East Coast, Renaissance, Archerfield, Gullin.
I mean, I honestly, I've never played a lot of golf out there. I've never played any of the Gullins. I've never played Muirfield, though you have. I've never played North Berwick.
Oh, you need to.
I know.
You need a golf trip home.
Need a trip home. So that's a great question.
You could really take 5 on the East Coast, 5 in the West, 5 North, and you spend a month.
I know.
I mean, Mikey would love that.
He would love that. He would love that. No, we could certainly kick him out for a month and go and let him enjoy it. Tell you, nobody likes a golf trip more than Mikey. We were sitting thinking the other day.
You've done a few good ones.
We've done a few good ones, and we're trying to plan one for my kind of technically my 40th trip. Well, what we're going to do, so we're trying to plan like a little somewhere in the New York area. We'll probably try and get out to like out in the kind of Hampton strip. So do like National, Friars Head, Maidstone, then we'll go and play like Wingfoot, Baltusrol, and the other one we want to do is Bayonne. So that's some good golf. See, being so close to that.
To the East Coast.
To the East Coast.
Yeah, a couple hour flight, is it?
Not even
an hour and a half.
It's probably in the air 45 minutes.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's so easy. It's so easy. So we're going to do that later this summer.
Superb.
Be good. Where would you reckon? Somebody was coming over here, one from each of you. If somebody was coming over here, what was the one course you'd tell them to play? So somebody watching. James, what you got?
Personally, my favourite's
Dornoch.
Yeah. For someone who's never played links golf,
Cruden Bay.
Cruden Bay's brilliant.
Yeah, no, Cruden Bay, Dornoch, great.
I love
Royal Aberdeen, great.
I love Dornoch. I mean, I've played it in, like you, in terrible conditions probably, but I've also played it in like a summer's evening.
Spectacular. I can't think, every time I think of the 2 places that come to my mind when I think of a late summer's evening playing golf, Turnberry on the Ailsa course is one, and Dornoch is the other. Long shadows.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's just so nice. It's perfect, tranquil.
Yeah.
What's the one course you would say? Macri. The Macri's amazing. That's a special place, isn't it? Yeah. Oh no,
nightmare.
I've never done the flight. I've only ever done the boat, the Port Ellen over. No.
Nightmare.
Not played Ericsson and your golfer.
I would
say Creef.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, we
Creef's
used to play the Creef Young Pros or something.
It was the qualifier for the Scottish PGA.
That's right. They used to play a young pro there or something. I'm pretty sure they did.
Maybe
Maybe one year they played British Assistants or something.
Yeah. No,
another
Creef's really
high
good.
number for myself.
Yeah. Too many in our locker. Brilliant one there. Ian, where would you take the audience if they came to Canada? I love that question.
You've got to go up to Muskoka.
Muskoka's is pretty good.
We had some good trips up there.
I tell you where I loved it. We played there a little bit. It was up at
Osprey. That was
which
great.
is now TPC Toronto.
Yes, fantastic.
Amazing. I would probably take the boys up there for the day to TPC Toronto.
2 rounds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you could, you'd get the 3 in if you could. So the Hoot, the Toot, and the Heathlands was what it was when we were there. Now called, I think it's North South in Heathlands, but 3 amazing courses. That's the new head of home of Golf Canada.
I heard that. Yeah, you told me that. Yeah,
the new kind of training centre is going to be the development centre. They're building a whole kind of training academy up there. It's going to be amazing. So
superb. It's great.
Yeah,
not far from you, is it?
For me, 30 minutes.
There you go.
30 minutes, nice and easy.
Perfect.
Let's see. Ape Index is asking, why do some pros use steel, not graphite, in their driving irons? Is that for low ball flight to suit the links? It's definitely not for low ball flight, because you can get every bit of a low ball flight with a graphite shaft as you can with a steel shaft. Yeah. More just your preference on feel. Yeah, what you like to feel. And
there's not many now, though, is there?
There isn't.
I would say more people have transitioned into. I would say a few years ago it would have been more common to see a dynamic gold in there and a 2-iron or something, but most guys now are in, they're in graphite.
They're in some form of graphite. Yeah, it's the minority for sure. I mean, I did see the other day Webb Simpson's rocking a steel shaft and a 5 hybrid.
So that he's been doing that for a wee while, actually, hasn't he?
That's quite amazing. He's got the little steel. I quite like that.
That's quite a good idea, though, isn't it? Because I can see the benefit there in a because it is just a 5-iron replacement effectively, and he just wants the same feel to set.
Yeah,
but no, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so just feel really is the biggest thing, and try to kind of blend the transition of the set. If you look at someone who's using 120, 130 gram iron shafts, and they're using maybe 65 driver shafts, 70 in the woods, and you've kind of got to try and find that blend as you go, and try to get into that 100, 105 gram region is how you kind of go about that.
You need that weight progression, don't you, in the bag? You need to.
Yes.
We see that a little bit, where guys might be in a 50 gram, driver shaft, and then, 80 gram fairway wood, 85 gram hybrid, and then a 130 in the irons. You're like, it needs to be a little, or even going down the weight then in the irons. You need to have that continuity of feel.
Definitely. Paul Stewart was in the other day and couldn't have been happier with the fitting. Remember Paul? He was in a couple of days ago.
Might be one of Dane's.
Paul's sorry he couldn't be with us today. We're sad as well, Paul, but I'm delighted you came in. I'll say it for you because you're too humble to say it. I mean, I've had nothing but great feedback from anyone who's dropped into my DMs about coming here and having an experience with you guys. I said to you earlier on, it's as good of a studio as there is anywhere in the world. I've been to most of them, and this is as good as anywhere that there is. The space, the feel, the technology, the options. It's got everything you would possibly want. And more importantly, it's got the key component, which is 2 great fitters who, first and foremost care about the customer. Secondly, are knowledgeable and, give you the right information. So, anyone sort of UK or kind of close by that's even thinking about it, don't hesitate. Even if you want to as a gift for somebody, if there's a golfer, that you're looking for a gift, I say to people all the time, kind of $100 or £75 or whatever, the fit fee it's a great price point to give to someone as a fit fee and as a unique experience. It's something they really appreciate. So it's a great spot. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Brian McAllister, Brian's Echo, and great team in Glasgow.
I appreciate that, Brian. Yeah, Brian was in yesterday.
Is that right?
Yeah, lovely guy. Yeah, came in with a friend of his, Donald Stewart.
Right.
Lovely guy.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic.
Brian knows his equipment.
I mean, it's great that, you know,
he's followed the channel for a long time. He was saying he was disappointed he couldn't be here today, but big fan of yours. And
gear junkies gravitate towards gear junkies.
Loves the gear. He was telling me he's got, you know, Titleist set, Strixon set. I think he's actually got more sets than you, to be honest with you.
Brian, you and I could compare notes. let's give that a run offline. Boys, any other questions from you guys?
I'll just ask again with irons. If you only have 6 irons, and if you do, how do you then ensure the gap?
Yeah. So James is asking there. So we don't have the mic right now. James is asking, do we only have 6 irons, and you know, how do you fit a set? How do you make your decision around the set sort of makeup when you're only testing off one iron effectively?
Yeah, no, we do. I think you're similar.
We're the same. Yeah,
6 iron. Yeah. I think there's experience to it as well. You know, I think that's a huge part of it. I think you can really get a good feel for. I like the 6 iron personally because I think it's a really good blend between. It's not as easy to hit quite as a 7, but it's not quite as hard to hit as the longer stuff. And so I think it is a good point to start your fitting from. But we always say, you know, we always try and work with the guy, what they try to feel. You know, are they looking for something more forgiving in the longer iron, or are they looking for something, you know, a little cleaner, neater in the shorter irons? What they try to do with their ball flight. And then part of it we always say as well is, you know, if you see the right performance in the bay, the right numbers, the right strike, it comes to life really, that product. And then we always invite the customer back for a gapping session, you know, so that if there is any tweaks needed to the lofts and so the yard, because you might do a blended set, and you know, for example, if you're on a T200 iron, which is a little faster, you know, then how does that gap then through 6-through wedge in the T100 or T100S? So there is a little bit after care in that, in terms of just making sure you get the right sort of performance through the bag. You know, that could be the same as ZX5, ZX7. You know, but no, there's challenges to all sort of fitting matrices, isn't there? You know,
there is. Yeah, you're right. As many as we're talking about, we have tens of thousands of options. Arguably, we would want more if we could. You know, if we could, James, you know, have more options. I think it would be certainly good to do so, and you know, it's things that we consider when we talk internally about how to give the best customer experience. Is do we have the right blend in our demo matrix? Is there better ways to offer that up? Should we look at something like 8 and a 5? Maybe an 8 and a 5 is the best way, and we're actually starting to extract data as well from things like Arcos. We go to them with 600 million shots in their database to look at it and say, what do golfers hit the most? What is the most used club in the bag? So the feedback we got, 8 iron is the most used club in the bag in any golfer's bag. So, you know, we start to think then, okay, should we base the fitting more around what golfers use, you know, most commonly? So, but I think
there's an evolution there, isn't there? There will be an evolution.
There will be. It will evolve, and it will change over time, and rightly so. But you know, it's just I like being part of a group that we're curious about how do we deliver that the best. As of right now, we don't feel we're giving up anything by offering a 6 iron, you know, as the fitting option. If you were to come in today and we were to see one of the things you struggled with was a bit of launch and a bit of spin. Well, when we start thinking about 5 and 4 iron, the last thing we're going to do is give you the same as your 6 iron. We're going to help you at that point, because we know as we decrease the loft and some of the things we lose, maybe we don't have the same progression on ball speed and launch, we're going to lose apex, and you're going to bunch up your yardages. You're going to have a bit of a struggle when it comes to that type of thing. So that's why you're working with Joe and Dane and you know, ourselves and our team. You're really going to rely on your fitter to give you the right, you know, information. And back to what you said about Titleist and blended sets, that's why these companies as well are hearing, you know, from fitters and their own fitters in the field. We want blended sets, because realistically, how do you want your wedge to perform is not how you want your 4 iron to perform. It's got different attributes. And as much as you can get CG progression within an iron, if it has the same frame to it and the same construction, there's only so far you can push that CG kind of adjustment and things like that. So, you know, there's so many ways to go about it and you know, apply the technologies that we've got nowadays. But great question. Really great question. Let's see. Zach is asking, how many grams of hot melt is needed to reduce spin? It's an interesting one. I mean, if you're going to put hot melt up the front of the head, center of gravity forward, in order to try to decrease dynamic loft and ultimately, sort of lower the spin loft, you're probably going to be looking at, upwards of 6, 7, 8 to 10 grams. And really, most heads don't have that amount of discretionary weight to play with.
You're already at
the threshold. So you talk to engineers and, they're excited when they say to you, we moved the CG, location a little bit, further back in this one. We freed up 3 grams to do it, or 4 grams to do it. It's like, really? They're scrapping.
That's how much they're fighting
grams.
for it, yeah.
They're fighting
changing crown, changing materials to save that little bit of weight.
They really are. Yeah. I think, honestly, Zach, if you're trying to reduce spin, the biggest thing is trying to get try and get ahead with the right static loft, the right center of gravity, and then really putting hot melt in is not going to be nearly as impactful or needed as much.
I would say you sort of got to look at heads with a already forward CG.
Definitely.
Like a paradigm that you can flip those weights or a
paradigm triple down.
That's what exactly. You can put that heavyweight forward. You 14 grams in the front. That's a huge difference. Or Stealth Plus with Stealth 2 Plus with the sliding track. You're going to add some CG forward there. That's what I would go more with it than, because you can be much more specific about how much weight you're adding and taking away, rather than the sort of the injection with the glue gun. There is a bit of tolerance to it.
There is.
Then you got to feel where the head is and where to balance it.
Yeah.
It's not as consistent as what they offer now, or even lead tape, for example.
Totally agree. Guys, we're going to take a few more. We're coming up to 4 o'clock here in our time. I know it's still early on the sort of east and west coast of North America. Boys, any more from you guys? Graham's always got a question.
Good man, Graham.
Quick one. Just who have you got for the Open coming up?
Good question.
Who are you picking?
So on the podcast recently, I had said to Mikey, it was about a month ago, I said Rory at Hoylake. I thought his game was kind of in a good spot, and I said I had him for Hoylake, and because he's going to break his kind of this winless streak in the majors, I think he'll win at Augusta as well. So I've got him to win at the Open and the Masters in the next 6 months, or whatever that is within the next few majors. Who's your pick?
I can't disagree. I think McIlroy's got. He's got to have a great shot.
I hadn't, to be honest, I hadn't kind of pegged him to play as well as he did at the US Open. I saw him obviously working on some things with the Pro Sender. He was very involved with that for a few weeks, and he took some time off, obviously,
also
after
doing some stuff with Smart Ball as well, wasn't it? A lot of stuff that you've been working on. Yeah,
absolutely. It's interesting to hear him talk about the position he gets at the top, and we've spoken about it. Joe and I, have a chat every Monday for about an hour on the way in to do the filming, and we talk all things golf and this and that. We always talk, Rory's swing is one that always comes up to us, and we talk about that kind of wrist extension he gets into at the top, and how that kind of steepens the plane a little bit on the downswing, and he kind of has to tilt and get out the way. And while he does that phenomenally with a driver, no one better. He struggles with some other parts. So it's good to hear him talking about these types of things that he's trying to change. So
he's due one, isn't he? I mean, he's been through the mill there with last year at the Open, St Andrews, and some near misses. And
I know he played so good at both of those. I mean, to lose to a Cam Smith who went ballistic in the back nine.
We were talking about that earlier on, weren't we? The Open at St Andrews.
You can never peg a Wyndham Clark to have. I mean, it was one tour win. He won recently somewhere. I forget where he was, where he won. But you get one tour win. Was it not Quail Hollow? Did he not?
Can't remember.
I think he might have won at Quail Hollow, maybe. And his first sniff of a major, he goes and wins it.
I know.
Best finish before that was 75th in a major, and he gets up there, and you think down the stretch,
you would think
he'll go back. Rory will go
that
forward.
fairway would shot hit into the par 5
after waiting and standing there.
It's unbelievable.
I mean,
unbelievable.
What a player he is.
What a golf swing.
Yeah, horsepower for days. Amazing.
The amount of speed that guy's got. Hits that, sort of power cut. But he's got the speed to burn, so he can do it.
He does. Rob Coates is saying, bold, Fraz, bold. I think the Rory pick, I I think that's a.
No, I think you're in good. Yeah, I think you're in a good place there.
Definitely. Let's grab one more from the boys. Are you guys any more?
All good.
All good. Okay, let's grab one more from the audience online. Try and see what's Ryan got here. I see some chat around Ryan Horner's question. Ryan, if you've got that question again, maybe throw that back in there. Good one there from Gary's asking, what about fitting ladies? And I think always try not to throw ladies fitting and men's fitting into separate buckets. It's just fitting, isn't it?
It's a golf swing, isn't it?
Just a golf swing
at
a certain speed with certain delivery characteristics. So
whatever that gender may be, or whatever age that may be, or
there's just fitting.
You know, it's just fitting. It's just the right product, the right shaft, the right weight, the right flex, the right bend profile, the right head design. You know, the golf ball doesn't know what gender or age you are. You know,
it's a message at 10,000 of a second. That's all it gets. So in terms of 6-iron, to Gary's point, that's why we carry so many different types of iron. So some might be kind of these hybrid sets that we're talking about.
HL or something like
that have
GPX,
more loft, deeper CG.
Yeah.
With the loft progression, Jose, we've actually started to carry a few 7s at our Toronto store just because
we're a little bit stronger in the loft.
As say, the lofts have gotten stronger. You know, there's some 600 at 23 degrees of loft nowadays in the Paradigm X and things like that. So, it's a great point, Gary. And back to that conversation that we have internally about the mix of the matrix that we carry in all of our stores. That's always a big part of it, making sure that we're covering all of our bases, you know, as much as we possibly can. So we do have options. We're adding to them all the time. But, you know, you still will absolutely get the right fit from length, shaft weight, grip size, you know, lie angle, all these things. Importantly, will be, you know, they'll be dealt with along the way.
That's it. Absolutely. Spot on.
Guys, to the boys that joined us, thank you for coming in. Great to see James again. We've known each other for a long time. Played junior golf and things like that together.
Yeah, serious from Hills, but I didn't realise you played golf together. Yeah,
we did.
Superb.
So, you know, great to have the boys with us as well. Thanks to you guys for joining as always. Big shout out to Joe and Dane for hosting us. Thanks for having us in at the studio.
Thanks for being here, Ian. Appreciate it. Great to see you.
Yeah, it's just great to be here. And I think what we've got is something, you know, a baseline for what we can do is a regular basis of content when we're in town and do these types of things. I love to do it. So
I think going to those different studios and going to those different places and engaging with people that follow the channel, engaging people that are interested in fitting.
That's what it's all about.
Absolutely, what it's all about.
You guys are the ones that have supported us, you know, really since day one, since the channel was in its infancy and as it's grown. You know, it's just so good to hear the stories of people who, you know, who say, I've literally followed you guys since the first few months or whatever it might be, and whatever the kind of connection or story is great to meet in person. When we were out at LACC another week there, I think we probably Mike and I met 20, 25 people who watch the channel and stuff like that. And it's brilliant to, you know, connect with people and hear their stories and things like that. So really appreciate it.
There's a real good golfing community out there that love the equipment, isn't there?
Definitely.
Love the fitting and all aspects of getting better. We're trying to get better and try to understand it, and you know that's what it's all about. It
is what it's all about. It is. Connor and Al, thank you for the lads for the tech and getting this online. I mean, no mean feat. You know, this was really the first time we've done this remotely. Right. You know, so and we did with New York, but Matty knew his cameras and his setup and this and that. So first time we've done that. The boys have done a brilliant job for us. So we're excited for you guys to see some content coming from this studio onto the channel very soon. Appreciate you joining us, and we'll be back very soon.
Thank you.
Awesome.